After 6 years of training, lifting weights, and even competing in bodybuilding, I was telling everybody that what I was doing was my absolute passion. But then I had a moment of realization that I actually wasn't enjoying it anymore, and I hadn't been for quite some time. So I sat back and I took a look at what I was doing and thought about what I needed to change to get back to that place where I was loving my training. I came up with 3 things that I wanted to change in my training to bring that love back, and that is what I'm going to share with you today. But please do bear in mind that these are specific to me. I'm not telling you that you should not be doing these things or you should change these things if you are doing them. It's just what was affecting me. They aren't necessarily going to apply to you, and I'm not going to recommend that you do them, but they do apply to me. And lastly, it doesn't mean that I'm going to change these things forever. It doesn't mean I'm never going back to how I was then. I'm just changing them for now because that's what I need right now, and that's fine. The top link in the description will take you to my online coaching company, Progressive Physique Coaching, and you can get in touch with me directly on email at ashmaypt@gmail.com if you have any specific questions. Now, let's get into the first thing that I'm changing in my training to bring the love back. The first thing that I changed in my training is that I stopped timing my workouts. For years now, I'd gotten into this habit of once I started my workout, I started off the weight training thing on my Fitbit, and I don't really know why I was doing it. I wasn't doing it to time my workout. I wasn't doing it because I was time restricted and needed to make sure it was within a certain time window, but I was just in this habit of setting the weight function on my Fitbit, and that inherently meant that I could always see how long I'd been exercising for, and at the end of my session I knew how long I'd been lifting weights for. I literally don't even know why I did it. I got nothing from it, but I always had this running clock of how long I'd been in there for. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks ago that I realized it was actually causing me a kind of stress or anxiety during my training. As a person, I'm somebody that really struggles with the concept of not wasting time, and I get really stressed about optimizing everything. So when I have this constant ticking clock to show me how long I've been doing the same thing, I would be always subconsciously thinking this is too long or trying to speed things up. And it's like as soon as I hit that hour mark in my training, I would feel instantly tired, like I couldn't do more, I shouldn't do more. I automatically thought I was doing too much, or I automatically felt like I was wasting time. And yes, this is definitely a big psychological thing, and it is entirely because of my own insecurities. But since I scrapped timing my workouts, which I've stopped doing like 2 weeks ago, it was like an instant weight off my shoulders, and I went back to those sessions like I had back in the day, some of my best ever workouts, where I have no idea how long I've been in the gym, probably way too long, but it was just great because I wasn't worrying about all that, and I've kind of got some of that back already just from scrapping the watch, which is so silly, but it is what it is. Now, obviously this wouldn't work for you if you are time constrained, because you might need to be timing your workout to get out on time. But for me, I'm lucky to have the flexibility in my schedule that I can arrive to the gym and train for as long as I need. So now I don't know how long I'm training for. I don't know what time it is when I started training, but I'm happier for it. The next thing that I stopped doing was trying to optimize volume all of the damn time. And this goes both ways. I know a lot about the volume landmarks and optimizing training volume, and I know how I personally respond to training volume. But the thing is, those things don't always match up with what you desire and what you enjoy. So if you're sat there pushing volumes higher and higher and higher because all of the signs, all of the feedback from your body and your training tell you that you can and should be doing more, but at the same time, your head's really not in it, because the last thing in the world that you want to do is another set of calves, then that extra volume could actually be detrimental to your results rather than beneficial. I found that sometimes I am way better off doing 3 really focused, high intent sets of one muscle group than I am doing 9 shitty half-ass sets because my head's not in it. So I was doing these programs where I was pushing volume super high on muscle groups that I really didn't want to be training, or they could just handle so much volume, so I kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. It wasn't necessarily required to grow, but I could do it to maybe grow more. But I didn't like it. So my head wasn't in it. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't getting much from those sets. I probably would have gotten more if I had have just done the bare minimum and grown more, because those sets would have been more stimulative overall. So really, I was just wasting time. So when I stopped trying to optimize volume, I actually progressed better and I was enjoying my sessions so much more. And obviously this isn't to say that I ditched all common sense and all knowledge that I have when it comes to training volume. To be completely honest with you, the actual volumes I was training with hardly changed. The amount they changed was so tiny. It was just a few more sets on a few muscle groups I really care about, a few less sets on the muscle groups I don't care about so much. But what did change massively was my mindset around it. I was choosing to do volume where I wanted to, or because it was feeling good, rather than because the spreadsheet told me I should, or my brain with the knowledge was telling me I should. And that made a huge difference. The freedom that I gained didn't actually change much in practice, but it changed the way I felt massively. And the last thing I changed is that previously in my training, I was not specializing on any specific muscle groups because everything out there was telling me that I didn't need to. Based on my level of advancement, my overall size and recoverability, there's nothing to say that I can't train for a full body focus in my program. So if there were certain muscle groups that I really wanted to bring up, I wasn't doing extra work on them and doing less work on muscle groups that I was happy with or didn't really care about. I was just training everything equally in terms of as much as I could. But now I am specializing and now it's exciting again. I was looking at my physique and I was like, man, I kind of want bigger forearms and delts. So now I'm doing a shit ton of forearms and delts. And I thought my hamstrings are already pretty good. So I put my hamstrings on the back burner. That freed up a load of volume and recoverability that I can now put into my delts and forearms. I am doing a shit ton of forearm curls, kind of for the hell of it, just to see what happens. Now, I love the science behind training and nutrition. I love it. I care about it so much. But I also think there is a huge place for experimentation within training and nutrition. And I hadn't been doing that experimentation lately. And I was missing that experimentation. So my current experiment is, what happens if I do a shit ton of forearm volume? Will they grow? Will they not? I don't know. Will I get massive veins in my forearms? Or will I just get elbow tendonitis? Only time will tell. And that kind of experimentation is super exciting to me. What will my next experiment be? Who knows? I'm thinking I might try a unilateral bicep experiment. If you know about Dave McConey from the Brains and Gains podcast, he's been doing an experiment for years now where he has only trained one of his calves and they have stayed the exact same size, from one getting full training every week and one getting 000 training volume. They're the same size, and I have a feeling that my damn biceps are the same. They are just so stubborn. So I might try doing loads of volume on one bicep and like half of that volume on the other bicep and see what happens. If one of them grows way better than the other, then that tells me how I should be training to grow my biceps. If they don't grow at all, then I can just accept that I'm going to have tiny little bitch ass biceps the rest of my life and train them the minimum amount to keep them the size they are now. So those are the three things I changed in my training when I realised that I actually wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was stuck in a rut, it was stale, it felt boring, I wasn't inspired by it. Now I've changed those things and I already feel way better. I very likely will implement those things back into my life in the future. But right now, I needed a little change up, and those are the things that I've changed up. Fortunately, I think that people falling off of enjoying their training is way more common than people let out, and it often leads to just burnout and people quitting altogether. But for people where it's their passion, it's their hobby, and sometimes their career, like mine, it's a hard pill to swallow. So it takes a man to accept these things, if I do say so myself. But luckily, it's usually a really easy fix because the foundation that we love it is still there. We're just stuck in a rut and we've moved away from the things that made us love it. Sometimes you just need some time away, sometimes you need to do a different sport, or maybe you just need to change up a few variables like I've done. But like I mentioned, the changes that have actually happened in my day-to-day training are extremely minimal. The changes are mostly in here. It's all mindset based. So for things that are such a small change, it has weirdly made such a huge difference. It's kind of mind-blowing. Please do share your own experiences with this kind of thing in the comment section below. I'd genuinely be really interested to hear what you have to say. The top link in my description will take you to my online coaching company, Progressive Physique Coaching, where you can get in touch with me or you can email me directly, ashmaypt@gmail.com, if you have any questions about working with me as your coach. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you as always for watching, and until next one, see you later guys.